Hey everybody! I want to talk to you today about Venus retrograde because Venus started its retrograde motion now on the 4th of February and it will stay retrograde until the 15th of April. And the retrograde phase of a planet is very interesting because it gives some certain opportunities regarding the things that the planet rules, the fields that this planet rules. So that's why I wanted to talk a little bit about Venus today. And Venus, it's quite rare that Venus goes retrograde. It happens only every 19th month and it stays retrograde for about 6 weeks. So it's much rarer than that Venus goes retrograde than, for example, Mars, Saturn and Pluto. So very often Venus retrograde, it felt quite strong in our life. But first I thought it was suitable to tell you what is a retrograde motion. A retrograde motion it's an optical illusion from Earth. When we are here on Earth, it looks like the planet is going backwards in its orbit, but this is not possible, of course, because the planet cannot move backwards. So it's just an optical illusion from Earth because of the speed of Earth and the other planets. But still, it affects the human psychology, and that's why I wanted to talk to you about this today. Then, of course, we need to know, what does Venus rule? Maybe you see my previous video about Venus, but where I talk about what Venus rules, but I will go through shortly now. Venus rules our value system, what we value, what we enjoy in life, where we find pleasure and fun. This is Venus. And Venus also rules creativity, art and money and other things. But today I decided to focus on relationships, since I know that this is a very popular subject. When a planet goes retrograde, it becomes, if we see the planet as a personality, it's a little bit easier to understand then. If we see the planets as personality, a retrograde planet becomes an introvert personality. It wants to reevaluate things. It wants to look at the subject that this planet rules and see what can become better here and think through these subjects. And this is what's happening during a retrograde. So if Venus rules relationships, this is a very, very good time these weeks to look at your relationships in your life, to look at what you feel about your relationships. How do you value them? Are they valuable in your life? Do you need some kind of cleanse out in your relationships? And what do you gain from your relationships? And what do you give in your relationship? And since Venus is also about, Venus also rules justice and fairness. It's a good time to look at your relationship to see, is there justice? Is there balance in this relationship? Is there a good balance in receiving and giving? And now I have to mention also that I don't only talk about love relationships here. Very often it's love relationships, but it can also be relationships with friends and co-workers and professional friends also. This is a time to look at them and see. Also see, it's a time for healing, also to see what can we work on, what can become better. So you see here that it's actually a very positive time to make changes and to look at what's wrong in the relationship. And very often it happens like this, that when Venus goes retrograde, we start automatically to think about those things. Because we are affected, we start thinking about our relationship more deeply and sometimes make adjustments, and maybe we leave some people are leaving our life. And actually I see it a lot like a spring cleaning, we could see it as now, because now it's also we are almost in spring. So see it as a cleaning out your life a little to make space for the things that you really value. Because it's also like this, that sometimes we just go on in life just goes on, and we just do the same things. We are with the same people, and we don't really think so much about why we are with them, because I mean, life goes on, we are busy. And this is this is good things about retrogrades, because it gives us like some kind of zooming in on the subject, on the fields that the planet rules. And it gives us like this time like kind of changes a little bit, stand still time, and we can look at it and see, what is this really? Also look at, since Venus also no, I'm not going to now confuse everything altogether when I'm speaking, but what I wanted to say is that what also can happen during retrograde Venus is that we bump into old friends or relationship. It can be anything, like it can be that they contact you, you bump into this person in the street, and this is very interesting. You could ask yourself, like, why is this happening then? And my theory is that we meet these people in order to get reminded of things that needs to be healed, things that become better. And sometimes we go on in life and we leave people behind, and we don't think so much about like what happened with this person, why did this person leave my life, or why did we separate. But during Venus retrograde is a time to think like, why did this happen? And how can I avoid that this happens again, so that my relationships becomes even better? And this you should think about if you bump into some old friend or old partner. It's this could be the reason behind that you meet this person. Yes, that's like examinate love, relationship, introspection. And also if you are in a relationship, it often happens that problems arises, that problems that have been a little bit swept under the carpet can arise. And this is also in order for you to fix these problems, to heal them, so that your relationship can become even better. So many times Venus retrograde can be a little bit a time of some problems popping up, and it can feel a little bit heavy that way. But also think about it as a time for healing, and don't be annoyed if there comes up some issues, because there is really a reason behind why this is happening. So that is for you who are in a relationship. But also, I'm sorry, I have a little bit pain in my throat. So if Venus is also things that makes us happy and that we enjoy, it's also good to look at how do you treat yourself? Do you treat yourself with love? Because if you don't take care of yourself and you don't do things you enjoy, it's also very difficult to have good relationships with friends or lovers. You have to like continually like nurture yourself with things that you enjoy, and this is also something to think about during Venus retrograde. And how can I be more creative, and how can I bring in more beauty and joy into my life? Because it's actually like this, that when we are joyful and we think life is fun, our relationship will be better, because it's like Venus is giving and receiving, and we cannot give love in any relationship if we don't feel good about ourselves. That's how it is, basically. Since Venus also rules money, it's also a very good time to look at your money habits. How do you spend money? Is it balanced there? And what things do you spend money? And do you spend money on things that you enjoy and that you feel that they are worth it? Another thing that I want to emphasize is also that, because this is a 6 weeks period of reflection, it's not very good to, although you start having realizations probably during this period, it's not a good time to take action and to make changes during these 6 weeks, because this is the reevaluation period. But when Venus goes direct again, the 15th of April, then you can take action, because then the planet is moving forward and it's like the energy changes. And then if you have come to some realizations that something needs to be done, something needs to be changed, then you can do it then. And also, how do I value myself? Does the choices I make in life reflect the values that I have? This is also something to look up. Like sometimes we are very automatic how we're dealing with life. Like you just do the same thing as you've always done, although maybe your values have changed over time. And also I want to say that you can look, if you have your natal chart, you can look where the retrograde is happening in your natal chart, because the retrograde goes now retrograde through backwards in Aries, and it goes into Pisces again. So look at the houses, Aries and Pisces, where the retrograde happens, and these are the areas in your life that will be affected. And you can also look at the houses where you have Taurus and Libra, because these are Venus ruled signs. And the houses where you have Taurus and Libra, they will probably be affected by the retrograde. And these houses will show the themes that the retrograde will, what it will mean for you specifically. I don't think there was so much more I wanted to say about this right now, because now I've gone through like the most important things about relationships. Yes, also in case sometimes it can happen that you meet a new person, like a new love interest maybe during the retrograde, then be a little bit careful, because sometimes there can be some things that pops up after the retrograde that you didn't think about. So if you meet new people, it can be new friends also, or a new love interest, don't like run to church with this person or make some kind of commitment, because sometimes it can show up some details after, when you meet a person during retrograde, that you didn't think about, you didn't calculate, and something that you didn't know about. So just like try to enjoy life as usually, but be a little bit more reflective and think through things in relationship, and don't do fast decisions. And this is what I mean. Yes, that was it. And you can also please share my video. I'm very thankful if you share and like my video. And if you want to book a reading, you can go to milasastrology.com. I have different readings there, or you can just read a little bit on my blog. And so thank you for watching, and please give me some comments. If you have any questions, just write and I will try to answer. So I wish you a nice day or night wherever you are. I will try to make my throat become a little bit better. And I'll be back with another video soon. See you!